What's going on, guys? JSGC 171 and we're here for another Walt Disney World video. Now, in the previous one we showed you how to deal with the My Disney experience, so this is following on with a simple 10 things that you need to consider when you're planning a holiday/vacation to Disney World in Orlando, Florida, USA. So we're going to run down a list of 10 things to consider. So little bits of information here and there to help you make any decisions or help aid any valuable information and anything just to consider if you're going on holiday or vacation to Walt Disney World, and may make your experience a little bit easier or a little bit more adventurous. Who knows? So at number 10 we've got, when do you want to go? So that's the first thing you need to consider when you're booking a Disney holiday, is you need to think, when do you want to go? So there's various things to take into consideration. First thing is, what time of year do you want to go? So if you want to go in the winter months, then the weather isn't too bad. We're looking at, for January, February time, you're looking on average of 9 to 21, 22 degrees Celsius, which on its highs is just over 70 degrees in Fahrenheit for anyone following in the USA. Also, if you want to go in November, December time, which is kind of not a peak season for them, but it's like the winter peak season because you get a lot of national or public holidays, whatever you want to call it. So they average between anything from 10-15 degrees overnight to anything from 23 to 25 degrees in Celsius, which overnight is around 55-60 degrees in Fahrenheit to nearly 80 degrees in Fahrenheit, which, considering it's November, December time, is extremely warm. So it's not to be underestimated, the warmth of this place. So that's something to consider if you want to go, say, for Thanksgiving, or you want to enjoy some Black Friday deals coming on the build up to Christmas, or even head over to vacation or holiday in Orlando at Walt Disney World for Christmas, which I'm sure is one of the best magical experiences going in the world. So, you know, if you want that, then, you know, follow the list and you'll make that happen. Other ones to consider, you've got the fall, as it's called over there, or autumn as it's called over here in the United Kingdom, which is the September-October time, which is now becoming very, very popular. You've got a couple of national holidays falling in them categories. This year in 2017, from the 4th of September, you had Labor Day, and also on the 9th of October, you had Columbus Day. So it may well be a little bit busy on them days if you're going, so that's something to consider when deciding your dates. Also, it's Halloween approaching, so you get the crowds visiting for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party, which I'll be attending this year, so keep an eye out for that in September, October time. Well, it's going in September, so keep an eye on it for October when I put it onto the internet. You'll be able to see what it's like there, and it might help aid you going in 2018. You've also got spring and summer, which on the averages is anything from maybe 15 to 18 degrees in spring to 28-31 highs. So that was overnight temperatures, which is roughly around 60 degrees overnight, which is nice and cool for spring, in my opinion. That's very bearable, to 80, near 90s. So the low 80s, mid 80s, which is, you know, very, very nice for what it is. Just keep an eye out for spring break, so check for the local holidays for when spring break is for the Florida region, for people heading there, because the parks will get extremely busy with people having a couple of weeks off, for it being Easter as well. Well, I was mentioning before, in September, October, the weather's there overnight. We're looking at around 18 to 22 overnight, which is about 65 through to 73 degrees in Fahrenheit, which overnight is quite warm, but it's very cool considering that the temperatures in the daytime will be probably north of 30 degrees, just over. So we're looking at 30, 31, 32, which is enough to cause a lot of damage if you're not used to the heat, like me. So you've got to have preparations in plan to make sure everything's nice and safe for you. So if you're travelling in summer as well, just keep an eye out for Independence Day. Imagine that get very busy, but imagine it's very patriotic, so keep an eye out for that. And with Florida, unfortunately, in spring, summer, and heading into fall and autumn, hurricane season, so you may get a little bit of wind, cloud cover, not as much sun, and certainly you will catch rain. Never mind, pack your rain stuff so you don't get too wet. So all in all, very warm all year round in Florida. So if you want to make things a little bit cheaper, don't be scared of going in time when it's not peak, because it is still warm all year round. Just make sure you take a jacket if you're heading in the winter. Make sure you pack suitable clothing, which we'll cover as we go through. So that moves on to part 9, which is simply, where are your public holidays? It's going to be busy at Christmas, it's going to be busy on New Year, it's going to be busy on Independence Day, it's going to be busy at Halloween, which isn't a public holiday, I know. It's going to be busy at spring break, it's going to be busy on the summer holidays, etc, etc. So just check all the dates, make sure that's the only time you can get off. If you don't mind queues, then that's fine. You don't mind the parks being busy, then that's fine. But if you want to get as much done in your day and get as much out of the holiday and adventure as possible, then might be an idea just to consider going at a different time where the parks may well not be busy, which I think moves us really nicely onto number 8, because that's research. Do your research into what you want to do, where you want to go. Look online, have a look at ask around, put into Google, put into TripAdvisor's forums and stuff, find out when the parks are busy. So say if you want to head in September, have a look online to find out when in September it's going to be busy. So you've got Labour Day on the 4th of September, so imagine that's going to be busy. Fairly straightforward. You've got Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party starting in the middle of September, so it's going to be busy. You've got Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios as well, which will bring more visitors into Orlando, and people might be visiting Walt Disney World as well. So, if you want to go to them, then super. If you don't, then it might be an idea to go beforehand. Be flexible with your dates. That's a tip. Also, when you're doing your research, don't be scared to join forums. Ask questions. Ask loads of questions. I like asking questions. Ask on here, put in the comments. Let people reply back. Get all your advice. Get all your research. Knowledge is power. There you go. That's a tip to having a great holiday or vacation. Knowledge. Also, stock yourselves up with any books or anything. I mean, I like brochures. You got Lonely Planet books. Always helpful. Speak English in the United States of America. I imagine Spanish is quite fluently spoken down in Florida as well. So, don't be too scared if you don't speak much English. They do have different options everywhere for your language, so language shouldn't be too bad of a problem. Though you might fail to understand this video, as it's in English. So apologies, but I don't speak Spanish. Number 7. Utilise the holiday to suit you. So you're going with your family, utilise the holiday to suit all of you. Fairly straightforward. I'll expand. So if you want things to be cheap as possible, make sure you're flexible with your dates. Have a look at flight prices, find out when the flights are cheapest. And be flexible with your dates. Say you can only go on one concrete date to another, well then, you know, you have to pay the price if you want to go on holiday for them dates. You might be flexible by a week. Have a look at all the days, see which one's cheaper. You may save yourself hundreds of pounds or dollars doing this. That's a big travel tip. So just try and be as flexible as you can, if you can. That's key to being cheap. Now, to be cheap at Walt Disney World, which isn't the cheapest place I've ever been to, I'll be honest, but you want to keep things cheap, then you have to keep your costs down. Now, my tip would be to book direct with Walt Disney World to stay at one of their resorts. I know their All-Star resorts and their Royal Caribbean resorts. Royal Caribbean resort, I don't know what it's called, but them, they tend to be not budget, but they tend to be like the more cheaper options for you to stay in. And they're really nice hotels. I'm staying in one. Keep things cheap. Why not? It's a hotel. It has a nice, comfy big bed. You get 2 comfy beds. It's a family room. Taking 2 people. Life of luxury. 1 bed each. What's not to like? So keep things down. You send your bags in. I know we're flying with Thomas Cook. You can check your bags in the night before. Don't have to see your bags then. You can even have your bags collected at the airport and sent straight to your hotel room if you're staying direct with Disney. Don't have to see your bags. Save you some hassle, save you some stress. You can also take the free Disney Magic Express bus, which we're using as well, so I'll leave a video for that as well for anyone that might struggle to find out where it is at Orlando MCO Airport. I'm helpful, so when I've done the videos, obviously I'll try and feature them as best as I can in these Disney videos, and I'll create a playlist at some point for it too, so keep an eye out for that. So take the bus, it's free, takes you to from the airport to the hotel and back from the hotel to the airport. Job is a good one. Keeps costs down, saves on transfer, saves on car hire, and you get free travel on their buses and stuff to head round the different parks to enjoy everything there is at Walt Disney World. Now, you can even be cheap as well, and you can stay out of resort. You can stay at cheap hotels. You can buy villas if you're willing to drive. Some of the villas are really affordable over in near Orlando, and they look really nice. And you can have a really good holiday. And it also doesn't restrict you to just Disney World. You can enjoy all of Orlando. So it's all about utilising the holiday for it to suit you. If you want to spend a lot of money on it, be my guest. Enjoy your holiday. Live it up. If you want it to be cheap, then assess your options. Assess what's cheapest. And then just go for it. Keeps your costs down. Just bear in mind, do all your research, and just really just stick to your plan or ish what you have in mind. So that brings me on to number 6, which is to stick to your ideas and budget properly for your holiday or vacation. So if you want to spend maybe £1,000 or £2,000 or dollars on your hotel, then look for the hotels that fits into that category. Look into your travel message which fit into that category, and go for it and enjoy it. If you've got a budget that's a lot higher than that, then obviously you're going to be able to afford to spend more money, have various dining stuff, but there's no reason why you can't spend a lot less and have just an equally as good time. Now, if you're travelling with your family, there's nothing I like more than hanging around with your own family and having a good time, creating nice memories and making sure that, you know, everything's great. Things don't have to be expensive for you to enjoy them. There are cheap options at Walt Disney World with the hotels. There's cheap options for you taking travel. That's 2 things to get from the airport and back using the Magic Express. You can use the travel to get around the parks. You can go online, pre-book excursions. You can go to Kennedy Space Center, visit the other theme parks. No reason why you can't. Keep things cheap. Also, bear in mind the taxi services as well there. They travel you around. The car hire, if you're not used to driving over there, might be a little bit intimidating, or you might not feel one to do it, or fill up with petrol, which or fuel as it is over there, may add to all the expenses. So just try and keep things to your budget. So if you can budget for car hires, villas and everything, go for it. If you can't and you want to stick to staying on resort and travelling around, go for it. If you want to book a hotel outside the Walt Disney World at Orlando and take taxis everywhere, budget for it and go for it. That's key. So just make sure you're aware of all the prices and what's happening. And then, you know, makes everything a lot easier for you. Which, again, everything links in. Brings me to number 5, which is try and make your holiday as stress-free as possible. Now, the easiest way of making anything with a holiday or vacation stress-free is to be properly organised. Now, I always find plenty of time, plenty of what's the word I'm looking for? Notice for people to head on holiday, chance to save up as much saving money as possible and head into your holiday is always best. It is cheaper probably to do it on short notice, but it's also just as good to do it on a lot of notice for people to allow them as long as possible to save and prepare. Because if you're not living in the USA, then it is quite far to travel, so therefore it has to be booked quite far in advance. So my advice is just to pre-book everything well in advance, print off your documents, write things down, budget for everything, make sure you're putting a certain amount of money away per month, per person. You know, then you'll cover everything, double check everything, make sure you've got everything, and just try and keep everything as simple as possible if you can. Now, I know Disney World is quite difficult to organise if you aren't familiar with technology. I know My Disney Experience makes everything very easy, but not everybody's used to using My Disney Experience, which I've done a video on, so check that out as well at the end of the video that I'll leave a link with. But you can use that, you can book fast passes, your dining plans, keeps everything organised, keeps everything on plan, and I find My Disney Experience is the easiest way to go about that. But nothing stops you from writing things down as well if you like things to be wrote down, or print it off as well. Keeps things nice and simple, everything's safe, everything's secure, and it leaves you to have a good time with your holiday and makes things as stress-free and as ease-free as possible. Now, these next few tips are kind of just more personal type of tips for your holiday. So at number 4, I've got wear clothes that are comfortable for you. So if you're heading into winter and it's going to be a bit cooler, take a jacket. You're going to be heading in the peak of summer, you're not going to need a jacket, but you're going to need some waterproof type clothing because it does rain a lot. Common sense. So if it's going to be really warm and you know it's going to be really warm, check out the average weathers. You can find that anywhere on Google or on any weather app. You can also check it out on any like BBC News or anything. for their weather, the weather streams, and you can find what the weather's going to be like whilst you're on holiday. So just be prepared for that. Make sure you wear things that are comfortable for you. Make sure if it's going to be really warm that you're not wearing things that are too thick or things that are dark that's going to attract to the sun and make things overheat your body. These all link in, so I'll move on to number 3, which involves a lot of walking. So you're going to be doing a lot of walking. You don't really like wearing layers of clothing and dark clothes. Now, honestly, people leave brains at home. It does happen. Easily happens. Everyone's done it. So just try and be as organised as possible to make sure that everyone, particularly young children, are wearing suitable clothing. And ideally, even if you're going through any rough patches or anything with yourself, maybe you're a bit self-conscious about your body or anything, then make sure you just wear clothing that's suitable for you. You don't have to wear stuff that's got all your bits hanging out. You don't have to wear stuff that's got everything there or everything's covered up. Wear things that you're comfortable in. Everything's about you. That's what it is. It's your holiday for you. So wear stuff that you want to. Just make sure that it's suitable and make your life as easy and as stress-free as possible to enjoy the magics of Walt Disney World, Orlando, Florida. Now, you're doing a lot of walking at number 3, so quite simple. Break your shoes, and if you're buying new shoes, walk around. Don't be silly and start wearing high-heeled shoes if you're not used to walking in them, because you'll be doing a lot of walking. Pretty stupid. But if you are used to wearing them shoes and the warning and everything, then go for it if you're comfortable in it. Wear flip-flops if you want. Wear shoes, wear socks, whatever. Up to you. Just make sure that they're comfortable, because your feet are really important to look after. You've got to look after your feet, and your feet will look after you when you're doing a lot of walking. And the parks at Disney World are big. Like in America, everything in America is big, very spaced out, very spacious, so there's going to be a lot of walking. So wear things that are comfortable and keep yourself cool. Big tip if you're heading in. It is warm in Florida all year round. No reason why you can't catch 25-30 degrees of heat in February, March time. Does happen, has happened. Now, number 2 is sunscreen lotion or sun cream. Now, if you're fair-skinned like I am, being ginger doesn't help. I burn really easy, I go red really easy, and it can ruin holidays, causing sunstroke, blisters, stuff like that. Makes it really uncomfortable, hard to get a good night's sleep. So, sun cream, apply it regularly, all the time. You can take them into the park. You're going into the water park, remember to keep going back. Rent a locker for a day and apply your sunscreen lotion or sun cream as regularly as possible to avoid you burning. That's the last thing you want. I know people want nice tans and use the tanning oils and everything, but Orlando's not really a tanning type place, if you get what I mean, where you're just going to lay by the pool for 14 days. I mean, you can if you want, but you really enjoy Walt Disney World's magic by laying by the pool all day? Of course not. So it's very easy to burn when you're walking around and doing a load of fun stuff at theme parks. So really be wary of that. I'm going to have to be really wary of that. And I'm sure when I'm doing my vlogs over there, I'm sure after day 1 I'll be going, look how burnt my skin is. Look at that, really painful. I don't learn lessons, so please, 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 don't you do it as well. So don't forget your sunscreen or sun cream. Pack lots of it. You can never have too much. You can buy it over there as well, I am sure. Now, number 1, the most important thing to consider when you're planning your holiday or vacation and going to Walt Disney World is to make sure that everyone's included and make sure that everybody has an awesome time. Keep check on your family. Keep check on everyone that's traveling there. You don't want any unhappy places at the most happiest place in the world, apparently. So you want to make sure everyone's having a good time, and if you take all these tips, make sure everything goes great and swimmingly and as fine as possible. And I'm sure if everyone relaxes, enjoys the holiday for everything that it's worth, and I've never heard of anyone have a bad time at Walt Disney World. So, stick to the tips. Have a good time, enjoy yourself. You all know personally what you enjoy, so make sure that everyone feels included. Make sure people and everyone that's in your party are doing something that they enjoy, and everyone's getting a full experience out and your money's worth out of your vacation or holiday. So I hope all these information has been useful to you. I hope you all have a great time if you're visiting Walt Disney World. If you leave any comments, let me know how your holiday is, or let me know of any tips. I mean, just because I've done 10 here doesn't mean I can't provide more tips for you in future videos. So let me know of any video ideas you want to see involving Walt Disney World. I am going there for a week in September, so there'll be videos included in about 4 months, 5 months time from when that comes about. We're heading to Universal Orlando Resort, so you know there'll be videos on that as well in the future. So don't forget, if you want to see any of that, to leave your likes and subscribe. You press the bell next to my name, it'll alert you when I post any content. I do a lot of gaming videos, so I'd like to apologise. My channel's very broad. I like to do all kinds of videos, different alcoholic videos, vlogs, football, sports, travel, and Disney. I'm well into my holiday and Disney and Universal stuff. Those my holiday approaches as we approach towards 130 days to it. Can't come soon enough. So expect more videos from that. But for now, this has been JSGC 171. Peace. I'll see you on the other side. Ciao for now.